What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We have a 7.3 liter Power Stroke in the garage right now. And before we get into the video, I want to thank you guys for supporting the channel. You new Patreon members, I really do appreciate you guys. And be expecting a personal message from me on the Patreon page. So I do appreciate it, guys. And if you want to become a Patreon, support the channel, link is in the description. But for now, let's get into the video. 99, I believe, maybe it's a 2000. 7.3 liter Power Stroke pulled in the garage, and this thing has a bad oil leak, guys. So at first glance, seeing where this thing's leaking, you would say that probably needs a rear mainsail. But on 7.3s and a lot of other V8 diesels, they have a drain. You guys can see where my light is. There's a drain right there, and whenever oil builds up in this valley here, it's going to go out of that drain, and you're always going to think, you know, 9 times out of 10, you're like, yeah, it needs a rear mainsail, but it's actually just running out of that drain. It leaks down the side below the transmission, and it looks like a rear main, but it's actually not. Another extremely common leak for these guys is these pedestal seals. So the turbocharger has 2 O-rings under here, and then the pedestal where it meets the engine has 2 O-rings down under here. It's kind of hard to see, and you really need a light to be able to tell most of the time. But I have found our oil leak, guys, to be this high pressure oil line right here. So this guy right here normally goes into the cylinder head right there. It goes into the cylinder head, and it has an O-ring on it, and it had just a slow leak, and it was running, the oil was running from the hole right there all the way down the side of the intake plenum, around this bolt, down, and puddling right there. So at first glance, I thought pedestal seals are torn. So what I did was I took the intake spider off, which is this big aluminum piece that connects the turbocharger to the hot side intercooler pipe, back to the cold side, and then diversifies it so it goes back into the engine evenly. So I removed that, started the engine, let it run for a little bit, and I was just like, man, this oil is puddling up, but I can't tell where it's from. And come to find out, it's this little fitting right here, this high pressure oil line fitting. The O-ring on it is actually torn. My light's dead, that's why it's blinking at us. Unfortunately, I don't have any of those O-rings in stock, so I'm gonna have to go grab one. I had one pretty similar to it, but that one's too big. This one's not thick enough. So we're gonna have to run to town to get an O-ring for it, but what do you guys say? You think that's gonna fix the leak? Because I do. So that is what we're gonna start with on this thing. And a high pressure oil leak, guys, will cause these things to run kind of finicky. And this thing definitely doesn't run the best, but if it's leaking oil, now it's not able to build the pressure that it should, then that would kind of explain why it could be low on power. Now, granted, it would probably, if it was enough to affect it, probably wouldn't start, or it would run like crap. And this is just a really small leak, but it's steady, and it was building up in the valley, and it was, you know, it's steady leaking. So I'm gonna go grab an O-ring for this thing, and hopefully we can get this guy wrapped up and out of here. Guys, in the next video, we are going to be installing an AirDog lift pump. I do sell these on the website if you guys would like to pick one up. Link is in the description, dirtydiamonddiesel.com, and then select AirDog, and you can go through and pick what pump you'd like. These are probably one of my favorite pumps. This is the 165 4G. So this pump here, guys, you can use it on a bone stock truck, and it can support upwards to 1,000 horsepower. Some trucks have made over 1,000 on one of these lift pumps. So if you guys would like one, link is in the description. Pick up an AirDog. You get a lifetime warranty on these pumps, guys, and it is definitely some insurance to put on your diesel truck, because these fuel systems are not cheap. Let me tell you guys, these things are going to save the life of your injectors. They're going to make your engine run better. You're going to get fuel mileage increase a lot of times. So pick one up, guys. Links in the description. All right, guys, we went to town and we were able to get an O-ring. If my camera will focus, please. I got 2 of them. Obviously, the other one's on the truck. I just got 2 in case I dropped one, but we got it running right now. Got the door open, let some of these fumes out, and I think it's good to go. But why I have the spider off, I'm gonna let it run for like 15 minutes and just kind of watch everything. If it's all good, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. We'll call him. We'll probably do an oil change on this thing and get it out the door. But I just basically want to verify we don't have any other small leaks. These things leak all over the place. So yeah. Take this little 7.3 for a drive and see how it is running, and then we're gonna let it run for a while, probably let it idle for like 30 minutes and see if we see any leaks, see if we're leaking anywhere. So let's go. Wrapping up the end of today. Didn't really do a lot at the shop today, but I did go do some stuff I did do some running that needed to happen today. and we only worked on the truck for a couple hours, but good thing is we got it fixed. So, well, our main oil leak. He brought this thing to be pouring out oil. It was dumping it out the valley right there, guys. We got that fixed. I am gonna go over some things with him tomorrow because the truck does leak oil in other spots, but it just seeps. The dipstick's very common in those. The valve covers are kind of seeping, but nothing is really pouring out oil like initially. The oil pan also looks like it could probably be replaced in this thing. So we're gonna go over these things with him. It has the ABS light on too. See what all he wants to do to the truck. But that was his main concern was, hey, this thing's spewing out oil. I'm having to literally stop and add oil if I go on long drives. So Friday morning, and we have Skylar's in-laws 01 Wrangler up here on the lift, and we're putting a clutch in it. So guys, we had to pull the drive shafts out of it. Well, actually, main reason why he wanted to tear it apart was just for a throwout bearing.
Yeah, the throwout bearing was making noise, and I just told him that if we're pulling the trans, you might as well put a fresh clutch in it.
Might as well while it's out, but we had to pull the drive shafts, rear drive shaft, front drive shaft, cross member, unplug an O2 sensor, some other stuff, speed sensor, and here's the clutch guy, his little baby guy. But now we will get this guy switched out, get our new clutch on there, get our new throwout bearing installed, and put this guy back together. This is actually a really, really clean Jeep. Usually the frames on these guys rust out real bad, but you can see this thing is like rust free. So
It's only got like 90,000 miles on it.
90,000 miles, 01, 4-cylinder 5-speed. Come on. All right guys, we're about to go to town to get some parts. We decided while the Jeep is in here, we are gonna go ahead and do axle shaft U-joints on it. So we got it tore down. We'd put a clutch in this thing and got it to this point before lunchtime. So we're making pretty good time, but we did have to fight those bolts quite a bit. They were super rusty. We had to heat them and use the air hammer at the same time, but we got them out. So now we were going to replace the axle shaft U-joints and then send this thing down the road. All right guys, closing out the day here today, finishing up a hub assembly on this 02 Ford. So basically I had to take the brakes off of it. There's 4 stud bolts that go through the back, 21 millimeter. Pop those out, get the hub assembly pulled up. You have to pull the lockout apart. There's all that stuff. And yeah, this is where we're at, switching this out. I'm gonna put this little dust shield. I need to make sure that goes on the right way. So yeah, it goes like that. That's where the speed sensor is. Gotta run all this through there real quick, but yeah guys, that's where we're at, wrapping up the end of today. All right guys, stay tuned for the next video. We're gonna be doing an air dog install on a 2013 Ram. Truck is actually sitting out here done. That video is already done too. But you're gonna have to wait a couple days for that video to come out. So without further ado, I do appreciate it guys. Like, subscribe, we'll see you on the next one. Dirty Diamond Diesel link is in the description below. Link for Patreon is below as well. Do appreciate you guys, see you on the next one.